Everyone, I'm Travia Forte, and thank you for joining us. Now, there's a lot to cover tonight, and as your nonstop local election headquarters, we are tracking the biggest race and issues in Montana.
A little ways back, but you can still see some of those train cars that are still on the tracks right there. Now, I was able to speak with Maggie Carras, Public Information Officer of Carbon County. She tells me that the cause of the derailment is still under investigation, but there are multiple agencies out here trying to get this area cleaned up. At some point, a red SUV came in contact with a motorcycle. Now, we also have the crime scene unit van out here as well.
For the last 2 decades, Montana Violent Offenders Task Force has closed over 20,000 arrest warrants, removing guns, drugs, and violent offenders off of our local Montana streets. Good morning, Morgan. I don't know if you can hear the roaring of the river, but this is once where Jeanette Ostrom's home of 12 years once stood, and now there's a river right in the middle of it.
When news of the train derailment in Stillwater County broke, Alexis Bonagofsky jumped into action to make sure that companies involved work towards a solution that has the best interests of the local community and the environment, and not just their bottom line. Local Outreach Director Rachel Woosley, and she tells me that not only is there a 25-minute fireworks show when it gets dark, but there's also tons of free events for the family.
Even with her success, Jalon told me it's still an uphill battle as a minority-owned business. Her goal is to break bread and barriers with their biscuits.
Last year, strong floodwaters washed away nearly 50 feet of Joe Yelvika's land, as well as fencing and an irrigation ditch. Now, although he says he hasn't fully repaired from last year's damage, today he tells me he's in a much better spot and prepared for future disasters.
Today, the edge of Joe's land remains eaten away by the strong waters running through the channel behind his operation. Joe says to fortify his property with riprap would cost nearly $400,000, which doesn't include the cost of other damages. Yelvika says because of his ag operation, FEMA funds were not available to him. He says they directed him to the Small Business Administration for a loan. However, Joe says he received financial assistance from a local bank and community fundraisers. He says during natural disasters, it's amazing to see how many people show up to help where there's a need.
During that sort of a stressful time, you get kind of overwhelmed, and their assistance sure made it a lot easier to deal with and cope with things. So a big thank you to everybody that way.
Joe says the biggest challenge is over, but there's still work to do.
Joe says this ranch has been in his family's name for over 100 years, and he tells me a little floodwater isn't going to stop his family-owned operation.
I am here at the final cookout for a cure of this season, and I'm just amazed to say that there are so many people here. You can see the line is super long. It was filling up even before 5 o'clock, so that's always amazing to see those hungry, gracious, giving donors. People against the bond tell me they can't afford to have another increase to their tax bill, especially when they feel as though the Parks and Rec bond is more of a want than a need. Now, for those in favor of the bond, it's an opportunity to improve not only our parks, but the city as a whole. I spoke with Sandy and Bob, local Billings residents, who say they're speaking for the seniors and everyone else who's fed up with the amount of taxes they pay each year. Sandy says she agrees that the parks do need to be improved, but forcing the burden onto the taxpayers is not the solution.
In a perfect world, what I would like my taxes to go to, number one, we have to take care of our kids and their education. We have to take care of our security, which is our police department. I know people are sick and tired of hearing from Chief St. John, but he's the one that's out here trying to protect our city and our residents, and he doesn't have enough money. You know, so what's important? Those things or a rec center? Priorities, people, priorities, and it's not the rec center. It's just not.
Sandy said if the $110 million recreational center was not attached to the bond, then she might consider a yes vote. She says the additional tax would be too much money, especially for senior citizens and those living on a fixed income. Dick and Andrew, who are in favor of the bond, say the rec center could improve the impression of the south side of Billings when it's built adjacent to Amen Park. Both gentlemen say that the improvements to the park and the rec center will help with public safety and provide an area for indoor sports and activities for the entire community to enjoy all year round.
with this, it's another alternative to give the kids something to do, especially the kids. It's for all ages, all the way from people my age all the way down to young kids will be able to utilize this facility. And if we can keep them busy, maybe we can reduce crime. We all are aware of what the crime is in Billings, and I think this will help.
Yeah, this facility is geared toward all people, but it really is attractive to families with young children, especially, and that family unit and promoting that type of growth in our community that is aging would be great. This is an investment in all ages of our community, but it's a major investment to that young professional who's looking at setting their roots and something they can enjoy for the rest of their time here in Billings.
Andrew and Dick say they understand the financial concerns, but the bond is an investment for the city's future.
Voters do have until next week, November 7th, to make a decision, fill it out, and return their ballots. The data shows us information between 2021 and 2023 for victim and offender relationships for violent crimes committed against Native American women. That data is shocking. Now, local Billings nonprofit Family Service has been serving those in need in Yellowstone County since 1906 through various programs like food giveaways and rental assistance. Heather says letting go of 700 employees is not an ideal situation for the company, the employees, and the surrounding communities. But she says the best way they can help those affected is by making sure they can help their employees find their next job opportunity before they're officially laid off. All right, everyone. Well, that's all we have for you right now, but we hope to see you right back here for your late local headlines tonight. But until then, my name is Travia Forte, and thank you for joining us.